Alright, how's everybody doing this evening? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And tonight what I have for everyone is I just want to do a real quick versus/comparison video between the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. So I want to compare and contrast the differences and similarities, and then at the end of the video I'm going to go over the price and give you guys and gals a recommendation or two. So that being said, let's jump into this video. Starting off, I want to talk about the overall build quality and design between the both of these. Now, when we talk about the overall build quality, you couldn't have any two more different devices. Gosh, get your sentences together, son. Now, when we talk about the build quality and design of the A2 Lite, we have a metal, plastic, and glass design with Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, a metal backplate, and plastic top and bottoms for reception purposes. But other than that, this device feels extremely solid in the hands, and the buttons are very tactile and give me a nice and responsive click and feedback. So really good stuff in that regard. Alright, so talking about the overall build quality and design on the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite, it's actually really good, as my brother sends me a message. Oh well, you're not going to edit that out. Now, talking about the build quality and design on the S8, again, we have a really good build quality and design on this one, but we have different build materials. Now, we have glass-on-glass construction with the S8, so Gorilla Glass on the back, Gorilla Glass on the front. In particular, it's Gorilla Glass 5 on this, and we have a metal mid-frame, alright? But other than that, this device also feels extremely solid in the hands, and it has a really nice weight to it. My only gripe with the build quality and design on this one is the glass-on-glass construction. Without a case, this device is literally a slippery beast, and without a case, it will fall. So you got to keep a case on this. It's pretty much mandatory to have a case on this. But other than that, the overall build quality and design of the S8 is really good. So, that being said, you guys and gals may be wondering which of these devices do I prefer in terms of the overall build quality and design. Well, I'm not a big fan of the glass-on-glass construction of a lot of these flagship devices. I would prefer more of a metal construction because it feels more dense in the hands, and if it drops, it's less prone to instant breakage. With a glass device, one good drop is all it takes. But that being said, taking my opinions out of it, I would call these two a tie when it comes to the overall build quality and design. It really comes down to personal preference. So you choose what works best for you or what you think you like over the other. That being said, let's keep it moving. Up next now, let's talk about the displays on both of these devices. So, on the Samsung Galaxy S8 here, we have a 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display with a Quad HD resolution or 2K resolution at 2960 by 1440p, and that has a screen density of 570 pixels per inch. But putting the numbers aside, in terms of day-to-day usage, I have to say the display on the Samsung Galaxy S8 is top-notch, and I haven't had any issues. Now, using the device outdoors, I do find that I have to keep the brightness between 50 to 80%. But other than that, indoors, I generally keep the brightness between 25 and 30%. And as I said, I've had no issues with the display on this device. So the overall display on the Samsung Galaxy S8 is top-notch. Top-notch indeed. Alright. Next, talking about the display on the Mi A2 Lite, we have a 5.8-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 2160 by 1080p. In particular, this display has a screen density of 432 pixels per inch. Now, you have a 18 by 9 display over here, or 18 by 8.5 inch display over here on the S8, and we have an 19 by 9 display over here on the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. So what does that mean? We have the dreaded notch, y'all. Y'all can see that cutout. The cutout is vicious. But it's not a deal breaker for me. And overall, I would say that the display on the Mi A2 Lite is top notch. Now, talking about the display in terms of daily usage, I've had no issues. Again, this is another one of the displays where outdoors, I have to keep the brightness between 50 and 80%. And indoors, I generally keep the brightness between 25 and 35%, and it works without issue. I apologize for the focusing problems, y'all. It is what it is. Camera struggles in low light sometimes. But the overall display on the A2 Lite is top notch. Alright? So you really got to decide what you want. Maybe you want the 2K display with the infinity display approach, or you're okay with the 19 by 9 display and that notch, and you're okay with the lower resolution. But at least to me, if you're asking me how I feel about these displays, I want to call it a tie. Both of these manufacturers did a great job with both of these displays, and if you're new to the channel, I can really care less about resolution. All that matters to me is that we have a really good quality display and it works in day-to-day usage without issue. And both of these devices deliver that. Next, let's keep it moving. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the hardware, and then we're going to talk about the software on both of these devices. Now, hardware-wise, these devices are extremely similar across the board. Both devices have 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of onboard storage. Both devices have 12 megapixel primary rear-facing cameras. The A2 Lite incorporates a secondary 5 megapixel depth sensor, whereas the S8 only has a single 12 megapixel primary sensor. Okay? On the front, we have an 8 megapixel camera on the S8 and a 5 megapixel camera on the A2 Lite. Jumping back to the rear, both of these devices are capable of recording 4K video recording at 30 frames per second and doing 720p slow motion. In particular, where they differ is the Mi A2 Lite maxes out at 720p at 120 frames per second, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S8 maxes out at 720p at 240 frames per second, and you could do slow motion with the front-facing 8 megapixel camera on the S8 as well, whereas you can't do that with the A2 Lite's front-facing camera. In particular, the front-facing camera on the S8 maxes out at 2K resolution at 30 frames a second, and the front-facing camera on the A2 Lite maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So there are some differences there. Jumping back to the hardware, both of these devices support micro SD card expansion, but the Mi A2 Lite has the advantage because it supports the ability to make your micro SD card internal adaptable storage. As well as the Mi A2 Lite has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery built into that frame there, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. Okay? The Samsung Galaxy S8 supports USB Type-C fast charging with Quick Charge 2.0. The Mi A2 Lite still is using the older charging technology with the micro USB charging, or the micro USB charging, yeah, that's right. And it does support fast charging as well, but I couldn't get a standard. I'm not sure which. But it does display the fast charging notification when I plug it in. Other than that, talking about the chipsets on these devices, the Samsung Galaxy S8 is rocking the older flagship chipset in the Snapdragon 835 and the Adreno 540 GPU, whereas the A2 Lite is rocking the mid-range Snapdragon 625 and the Adreno 506 GPU. And I like to call that the Battery King chipset, because devices with the Snapdragon 625 are known for having really good battery life, and spoiler, the A2 Lite delivers really well when we talk about the battery life department, but we're going to get into that a little bit more later on. So that pretty much goes over the hardware on both of these devices. Now let's go ahead and dive a little bit more into the software on both of these devices. Now again, this is where you couldn't have two more different devices. The A2 Lite is running on the Android One program. So what does that mean? That means you have a completely stock build of Android installed on this device, with the only customizations being in the camera department for the camera app or the camera interface. Other than that, we have a completely stock build of Android 8.0 Oreo with the latest November security patch on board. Alright, and this device runs extremely smoothly. I've had little to no issues with the MI A2 Lite. Now, jumping over to the Galaxy device, this bad boy is running the Samsung Experience UI. I think it's Samsung Experience 9.5. And again, this bad boy is also running on Android 8.0 Oreo, but it has the older security patch with the September security patch. But that being said, Samsung's Experience Launcher incorporates a bunch of features. So you got the split window, but in particular you got the custom split window, so you could pair up apps, and all I have to do is tap them and it will launch side by side. You got the shrunken apps, so you can have like 4 apps on the display at a time and still be using your device. So the Samsung device incorporates a bunch of different features, whereas the A2 Lite is pretty much a vanilla stock experience. But that being said, the software experience, when we talk about the day-to-day performance on the Samsung Galaxy S8, is really, really good. Now, talking about the overall experience with the software on both of these, I've got to say that they pretty much are a tie. It comes down to what you feel you're going to take advantage of the most. Maybe you think you're going to use all of the features that the Samsung Galaxy S8 incorporates, or you feel like you want to go with that streamlined and slimmed down approach of stock Android. So it really is up to you. That being said, both of these devices do suffer from the occasional app slowdown with a bunch of apps open in the background. It's just an Android thing. And both of these devices do suffer from the occasional app crash and or hiccup. Now that has nothing to do with the hardware. Again, that is strictly a software thing, as I'm coming to realize. So in terms of the hardware and software, I have to call it a tie. Now, moving on. The next thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi performance. Now, across the board on either of these devices, both of these devices support Wi-Fi 802.11, BGNN, and AC. And what does that mean in layman's terms? That means that both of these devices can take advantage of your 2.4 gigahertz band and your 5 gigahertz band Wi-Fi on either your home router or your home modem or work modem, as long as you have either router or modem that lets you take advantage of both those different gigahertz or bands. But talking about the Wi-Fi performance, I know you guys want to see a dedicated test. So we got a YouTube video pulled up here, and this dedicated test will also double as a speaker test as well. So I'm going to go ahead and max out the speakers here. So let's see, let's put it to 100, and let's put it to 100. Okay, so both speakers are maxed out, and I'm going to be quiet now so you guys and gals can enjoy. And please feel free to let me know what you think of the overall speaker performance and Wi-Fi performance down below in the comments. But I think we're going to go ahead and start off with the A2 Lite first. Enjoy, guys and gals. Okay, that does it for the A2 Lite. Now let's go ahead and look at the speaker performance and Wi-Fi performance on the Samsung Galaxy S8. So let me slide this to the front. And we're going to go ahead and push play. Again, enjoy, guys and gals. Here we go. Alright, that does it for the speaker performance test on the S8 as well. And that also is a real quick Wi-Fi demonstration for you guys and gals. Now, that being said, let's take a minute to talk about the overall speaker performance. Now, both of these devices did a really great job. They both got very loud and stayed very crisp and clear throughout with no distortion on the top end. But both of these devices are lacking in the bass department, as well as I'm not a big fan of the speaker placement. Now, both of these devices have bottom firing speakers, which means that they are extremely easy to muffle with daily usage. And again, they lack that much needed bass. And you guys and gals know how I feel about these type of speakers. I'm a big advocate for front-facing speakers, and I feel all devices need to have front-facing speakers on board. But that being said, both of these devices did a really great job in the speaker department. Not the best, but really good. Alright, now let's keep it moving, and let's talk about the LTE and the band supported in both of these devices. Now, in particular, with the A2 Lite, we have a GSM unlocked device. So that means that this device will work on all GSM carriers in the States and all GSM carriers abroad. So as long as your carrier supports those bands that you see on screen, I hope that's clear enough for you. If it's not clear, I'll throw up a screenshot in post so y'all can see it nice and crispy. But yeah, as you can see, we're just going to rattle off the bands real quick. As long as your carrier supports these bands, you should be good to go. It pretty much has the standard GSM and HSPA and HSPA Plus bands, but in terms of Wi-Fi, it supports bands 1 through 8, 20, 38, and 40. So as long as your carrier supports those bands, you should be good to go. Alright, now jumping over to the Samsung Galaxy S8, this particular model of the S8 is globally unlocked. So that means that it will work on all the major carriers in the States and all carriers abroad. So let me pull up these bands here for you guys and gals. So as you can see, this particular model is the G950U, which is the globally unlocked model. And as long as your carrier supports these bands on the screen, you should be good to go. And we got a heck of a heap of bands here. So we got the standard GSM bands, HSPA, HSPA Plus, and we have LTE bands ranging from bands 1 to 19, 20, 25, 28, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 38, 39, 40, and 41. So as long as your carrier supports those LTE bands, you should be good to go. That being said, in terms of the overall band support, who's taking the win here? Well, that's an easy one, guys and gals. I'm giving the W to the Samsung Galaxy S8. More bands means more overall coverage. That doesn't mean that the coverage on the A2 Lite is bad. More bands, more coverage, easy W for the S8 here. But regardless of whichever device you decide to go with, as long as you make sure your carrier supports the bands that we just talked about, you should be good to go. Moving on, let's now talk about the overall Bluetooth in both of these devices. Now, Bluetooth-wise, both of these devices support Bluetooth 4.2 technology. And in terms of the overall Bluetooth performance, if I could talk, both of these devices perform extremely well. And you can see I've connected up all of my Bluetooth accessories to both of these devices without issue. Okay, but I do have to put in a big but here. The Samsung Galaxy S8 again gets the W in this department because it has a dual pairing feature built directly into the device. So I know you guys and gals may say, but that's like strictly based on the Bluetooth accessory. No, Samsung has went ahead and built in a dual pair function on the device itself. So I can pair up two speakers or two headphones, pretty much two accessories that don't have dual pairing functionality, and make them work with this device. So that one feature put it head and shoulders over the A2 Lite. So in terms of the general performance, it's a tie, but who's getting the W in this department? The Samsung Galaxy S8. Just for that dual pairing feature alone. Just put it head and shoulders over the A2 Lite. Now, moving on now, let's talk about the overall GPS performance on both of these devices. And again, I'm very happy to report that regardless of whatever device you decide to pick up, in terms of the overall GPS performance, both of these devices performed phenomenally, and I had no issues with anything that took advantage of the GPS. So whether I was using turn-by-turn navigation or geocaching, didn't have any issues with either of these devices. And that's extremely important to me because y'all know your boy is extremely GPS dependent. So if you're GPS dependent like myself, you shouldn't have any issues. So top-notch GPS on either of these. Now, moving on, let's take a second to talk about the call quality and speaker call quality on both of these devices. And at least when it comes to the built-in receiver, I feel like both of these devices performed similarly. Calls were very loud, crisp, and clear with the built-in receiver, and callers had no issues hearing me on the other end. That being said, I do wish the built-in receiver on both of these devices got a little bit louder. Okay? Maybe I'm getting old, maybe I'm going deaf, who knows? I just want a little bit more loudness out of both of the built-in receivers on these devices. That being said, when we talk about the speaker calls, however, this is where, again, I got to give the W to the Samsung Galaxy S8 because, again, it has a built-in speaker boost function. That being said, without that function turned on, I feel both these speakers perform similarly. But, again, because it has that function, it, again, ekes out the head and shoulders W over the Mi A2 Lite. Now, that doesn't mean that the speaker performance on the A2 Lite is bad. I just wish it got a little bit louder. Okay? So that covers the overall call quality and speaker call quality on both of these. Now let's get into my experiences with the cameras. Now, in the interest of speed, I'm just going to go over my general opinions. But if y'all want to see how these cameras perform, I will throw up dedicated cards to the dedicated camera review videos and link them down below in the video description as well. And they are time coded, so you feel free to jump around to portions of the video that you are most interested in. That being said, I feel like the cameras on both of these devices performed extremely well. In day-to-day performance with adequate or good lighting, I was able to get some really, really good shots. I may throw up some of my favorite shots right now so you guys and gals can see what I'm talking about. But as long as I had adequate lighting, I was able to get some really, really good shots with these devices. That being said, in terms of the video, again, they both top out at 4K video recording at 30 frames per second, and I was able to get some really good video with either of these devices. But again, I have to give the slight edge to the Samsung Galaxy S8 because the Samsung Galaxy S8 has OIS, or hardware stabilization, and EIS, electronic image stabilization. And that combination at the right resolution on this device means you're going to get some extremely smooth footage. Whereas the A2 Lite only has EIS, electronic image stabilization. And without EIS turned on, the footage is a little shaky. And that's saying something considering your boy got shaky hands. It is what it is. So in terms of the cameras, I'm going to have to give the W to the Samsung Galaxy S8. That being said, both of these cameras still are really, really good. And I'm very happy to own both of these devices. Moving on, let's go, pick up the pace. This will be the portion of the video where I talk about the gaming performance, but I did separate dedicated gaming performance videos. I'll throw up the cards and I'll link them down below in the video description. Next, talking about the benchmarks, I'm not even going to show you guys the benchmarks. Now feel free to check out my dedicated videos if you want to see the synthetic benchmark numbers. But in terms of the benchmarks, both of these devices performed exactly where I was expecting them to. Again, you got the last year flagship chip in the Snapdragon 835, an Adreno 540 in the Samsung Galaxy S8, and you got the mid-range battery king chip in the A2 Lite in the Snapdragon 625 and the Adreno 506 GPU. That being said, both of these devices in terms of gaming performance performed extremely well, and in terms of the benchmarks, they performed extremely well as well, pretty much where I was expecting. Now, moving on. The next thing I want to talk about now is something that I find extremely important. We're going to get into the battery life and the overall charge times. Let's start off with the Samsung Galaxy S8. Now, the Samsung Galaxy S8 incorporates quick charging 2.0 through the USB Type-C port, and it also supports wireless charging and fast wireless charging. So when you're wired charging, I found that with my particular testing, again, your results may vary because we all charge our devices differently and use our devices differently. But with my particular testing, I found that the charge times on the S8 range from about an hour and a half to an hour and 50 minutes. And that's going to full. Now, for the instances where I didn't charge to full, it was taking anywhere from about 35 to 45 minutes to get to my desired charge point. Again, I'll throw up some screenshots for you guys, but if you want to see all of the dedicated battery stats, feel free to check out my full reviews, linked down below. Now, that being said, talking about the wireless charging, when I used the regular wireless charging, it took anywhere from 3.5 hours to 5 hours to reach a full charge. When I used the fast wireless charging, it took anywhere from 2.5 hours to 3 hours to reach a full charge. So, to me, I feel like wireless charging is something you should use at night when you're going to bed. That way, when you wake up, your device is fully charged and you're ready to go. Alright, now, in terms of the overall battery life, with my particular using style, which is extremely heavy use, I found that it was a little bit of a struggle for me to get through the day, and I was pulling down anywhere from 6 to 7 hours of screen on time. Now, I could squeeze out 8 hours if I really pushed it, and I had to tweak some settings to get that 8 hours of screen on time, so the battery life on the Samsung Galaxy S8 could be better. It is what it is. Let's jump over to the A2 Lite. Now, talking about the charge times on the A2 Lite, this bad boy again has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and it took anywhere from 2 hours to 2.5 hours to reach a full charge. Again, when I wasn't charging to full, then it took anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2 hours to reach my desired charge point, depending on where I wanted to charge to. Alright, and the A2 Lite does incorporate its form of quick charging. I do get the rapid charging icon when I'm charging the device. So that is a plus there. Now, in terms of the overall battery life, I find with the A2 Lite, I am easily able to get through the day with my style of heavy usage. And in terms of overall screen on time, I'm getting anywhere from 8.5 hours of screen on time to 13 hours of screen on time if I really push the device. Now, with moderate to light usage, I'm getting anywhere from a day and a half to 2 days on a charge. So really good battery life with the A2 Lite. So that being said, in terms of the overall charge times, I'm giving the W to the Samsung Galaxy S8. In terms of the overall battery life, we're giving the W hands down to the MI A2 Lite. It is what it is. Alright, now moving on. We have reached the end of the video, and now I just want to talk to you guys and gals about the price and give you guys and gals my overall recommendation. Now, I picked up the MI A2 Lite, let's start there, from Amazon, and I picked it up for about $205 and some change after tax at checkout. I'll be sure to throw up the screenshots in post so y'all see exactly what I paid. So we keep it 100 around here. And for that price, I would say that this device is extremely good. Now, on average, with my research, I found that this particular configuration of the A2 Lite generally runs between $180 to $250. The A2 Lite comes in two different configurations. It comes in a 3 GB of RAM variant with 32 GB of onboard storage, and it comes in a 4 GB of RAM variant with 64 GB of onboard storage. Again, you're looking at the 464 variant in this video. Alright? And for that price, again, I would say it's really, really good. Now, for the 3 GB, 32 GB of storage variant, you're looking at prices ranging anywhere between $160 to $200. So you decide which one you think is going to work best for you. And aside from the internal storage and RAM, there really is no difference between the variants. Now, this is different from the regular A2, okay? The regular A2 does not have a notch display. It does not have expandable storage, and it has a smaller 3300 milliamp hour battery on board. So that is the difference. There is a difference between the A2 and the A2 Lite. But the A2 has 332, 464, or 6 128 RAM and storage variants. So y'all plan accordingly, and I'll link up videos down below so y'all could check out some full reviews on the Xiaomi Mi A2, which is different from the A2 Lite. Again, oh, niece hitting me up. I gotta hit her up after this video. Now, that being said, talking about the pricing of the Samsung Galaxy S8, I picked up the S8 again via Amazon. This time I picked it up through the Amazon payment program, and at checkout I paid $135. That was my first payment plus the taxes. Now, I signed up to make 5 payments of $100. So it's going to take me 5 months to pay off this device. As of the recording of this video, which is November 18th, November 17th, I have 2 payments left to make on the Samsung Galaxy S8. When everything's said and done, the Samsung Galaxy S8 is going to run me $535. Okay? Now, if you don't want to pick up the S8 through the Amazon payment program, you can find it used, new, and refurbished for prices ranging from $230 all the way up to $500 brand new. Okay? So you guys and gals got to make that decision for yourself. Now, recommendation time. Now, if we're going strictly based off of price, I would say save your money and go with the MI A2 Lite. But if price is not an issue, then you really got to weigh which device you're going to be able to take more advantage of. Maybe you're a fan of the stock Android and speedy updates and overall battery life that the A2 Lite offers, or you're a fan of the customized software and Samsung experience with a boatload of features. then you're looking at the Samsung Galaxy S8. That being said, at the end of the day, it really does come down to a personal preference. So if money's not an option, you got to decide which device will work best for you with your usage style. If money's an option, if money's an issue, then I would say go with the A2 Lite. Alright, that pretty much does it for this video, guys and gals. I hope everyone enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did enjoy the video, please help your boy out and give the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. If you want to see more content like this, please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below and click off the notification bell icon right next to it so you guys and gals get notified when I post new videos. That being said, if this video piqued your interest, down below in the video description should be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals, and you should be good to go. So you'll see links to the devices, recommended cases, recommended screen protectors, so on and so forth. All of that stuff will be linked up down below in the video description. Alright, I hope everyone has a great night, and I will catch you guys and gals in my next video. This whole video was recorded using the 13 megapixel rear-facing camera on the LG Stylo 3, and all the audio for this video was recorded using the Lapel CQ clip-on microphone, which is located right over there. So please let me know what you guys and gals think of the overall video quality and what you think of the overall audio quality down below in the comments. That being said, if you guys and gals got any questions on either of these devices, or you have a question you feel that I did not cover throughout all of my coverage of both of these devices, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I do answer all questions in a timely manner. Alright? That being said, if you own either or both of these devices, please let me know how your experience has been down below in the comments as well. Let's have a nice, respectful conversation. Alright, I hope everyone has a great evening, and I will catch you guys and gals in my next video. Peace, everyone.